Imagine unlocking the fundamental code of the universe, seeing the hidden gears of reality that no human eye had ever perceived, only to realize that your beautiful discovery could lead to the annihilation of mankind. This is not the plot of a science fiction novel. This is the true story of a man whose name has become synonymous with genius. A man whose wild hair and gentle smile masked a profound internal struggle. He fundamentally altered our understanding of space, time, and gravity. He bent the universe with his mind, yet he lived out his final days alienated, haunted by the demons of his own creations, and watched by the very government that gave him sanctuary. This is the hidden tragedy of Albert Einstein. When we picture Albert Einstein today, we see the lovable, eccentric grandfather of modern physics. We see the pop culture icon sticking his tongue out at a camera. But this sanitized image strips away the profound mystery, the rebellion, and the deep sorrow that defined his existence. To understand the man who bent the universe, we have to look past the iconic photographs and step into the mind of a profound visionary who often felt like a stranger in a strange land. The story begins not with a prodigy, but with a child who worried his parents because he took so long to speak. Young Albert was a solitary boy, lost in his own world. The true awakening of his mind happened at the age of 5, when his father showed him a simple pocket compass. While another child might have seen a toy, Einstein saw a miracle. He was completely mesmerized by the invisible force that made the needle always point north. It was his first glimpse into the hidden realities of the universe. From that moment on, he was driven by an obsessive need to understand the unseen forces that govern everything around us. But traditional schooling almost crushed his spirit. He despised the rigid, militaristic memorization of the German educational system. His teachers thought he was foolish, lazy, and destined for failure. One teacher even told him that he would never amount to anything, simply because his very presence in the classroom destroyed the respect of the students. He was a rebel who refused to blindly accept authority, a trait that would later allow him to overthrow the established laws of physics, but which initially made him an outcast. By his early 20s, Einstein was practically a failure. He had graduated with a teaching diploma, but his rebellious nature and refusal to play academic politics left him unable to find a job in a university. Desperate, he settled for a lowly position as a third-class examiner at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. For anyone else, this would be a dead end. For Einstein, it was the perfect sanctuary. He would quickly finish his daily patent reviews, secretly hiding his physics notes in his desk drawer when footsteps approached. Left alone with his thoughts, his mind began to wander through the cosmos. He didn't need multi-million-dollar laboratories or complex machinery. His laboratory was his imagination. He engaged in what he called thought experiments. He would close his eyes and imagine himself chasing after a beam of light. What would the light wave look like if you could catch up to it? If you rode alongside it at exactly the speed of light, would it appear to stand still? These simple, almost childlike daydreams were the seeds that would soon tear down the universe as humanity knew it. Then came the year 1905, the miracle year. While sitting at his desk in the patent office, a 26-year-old Einstein published 4 revolutionary papers in a single year. These papers proved the existence of atoms, laid the foundation for quantum mechanics, and introduced the theory of special relativity. He shattered the absolute ticking clock of the universe established by Isaac Newton. Einstein revealed that time is an illusion. Time is relative. It moves differently depending on how fast you are moving. If you were to travel near the speed of light, time would slow down for you while the rest of the world aged normally. And tucked into one of these papers was a simple equation. E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. It was a beautiful, elegant realization that mass and energy are the exact same thing, just in different forms. A tiny amount of matter holds a terrifying, unimaginable amount of hidden energy. It was a pure, philosophical triumph. He had no idea the shadow this equation would eventually cast over his soul. But Einstein was not finished. Special relativity only applied to objects moving at a constant speed. It didn't account for gravity. For the next 10 years, he subjected himself to immense psychological and intellectual torture. He worked obsessively, alienating his first wife, Mileva, and distancing himself from his children. He was consumed by a vision he could not quite mathematically prove. He suffered from stomach problems and nervous exhaustion, pushing his brain to the absolute limits of human comprehension. Finally, in 1915, he presented the general theory of relativity. He proposed something so radical it sounded like madness. Gravity is not a magnetic-like pull between two objects, as Newton had claimed. Instead, space and time are woven together into a four-dimensional fabric. Massive objects like the sun or the earth warp and bend this fabric, much like a bowling ball resting on a trampoline. Planets don't orbit the sun because they are pulled by a mysterious force. They orbit because they are following the curved, bending fabric of space created by the sun's immense weight. Einstein had literally bent the universe with his mind. In 1919, during a solar eclipse, astronomers measured the light of distant stars bending around the sun, exactly as Einstein had predicted. Overnight, he became the most famous man on the planet. Crowds mobbed him everywhere he went. He was treated like a prophet, a man who had touched the mind of God and brought back the blueprints of creation. But with absolute brilliance came deep, isolating torment. As the 1920s roared on, the scientific world began to embrace quantum mechanics, a field Einstein himself had helped create. But quantum theory suggested that at the microscopic level the universe is random, chaotic, and governed by pure chance. Einstein was horrified. He believed in a universe of perfect order and harmony. He famously declared, "God does not play dice with the universe." For the rest of his life, Einstein waged a lonely, losing battle against the new generation of physicists. He was viewed by his brilliant younger peers as a stubborn relic of the past, a man who had revolutionized physics only to be left behind by it. The scientific community he had built moved forward, leaving him isolated in his office at Princeton University, fruitlessly chasing a unified field theory, a single equation that would explain everything, until his dying day. Yet his academic isolation was nothing compared to the true nightmare that awaited him. As the 1930s brought the rise of the Nazi regime in Germany, Einstein, a pacifist and a Jew, was forced to flee his homeland. The man who hated nationalism and war was suddenly declared an enemy of the state. His books were burned, his property was seized, and a bounty was placed on his head. He found refuge in America, but peace would elude him forever. In 1939, Einstein received terrifying news. German scientists had split the uranium atom. They were on the verge of turning his beautiful equation, E equals mc squared, into a weapon of absolute destruction. Overcoming his lifelong, passionate pacifism, Einstein signed a desperate letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, urging the United States to develop the atomic bomb before the Nazis did. That single signature launched the Manhattan Project. Einstein was not allowed to work on the project himself. The FBI, led by J. Edgar Hoover, considered Einstein a massive security risk due to his left-leaning political views and his outspoken nature. For 22 years, the American government kept the world's greatest mind under intense surveillance, tapping his phones, opening his mail, and compiling a secret file that would eventually grow to over 1,400 pages. He was a hero to the public, but a suspected subversive to the state. When the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, Einstein was shattered. The theoretical beauty of mass converting to energy had resulted in the instant vaporization of over 100,000 human beings. When he heard the news, he simply buried his face in his hands and said, "Woe is me." He spent his final years consumed by deep regret, dedicating his fading energy to warning the world about the very nuclear age he had helped initiate. He felt a terrifying sense of responsibility. He once confessed that If he had known the Germans would not succeed in producing an atomic bomb, he never would have lifted a finger. The man who had sought only to understand the elegant poetry of the cosmos was forced to watch his work be twisted into the ultimate tool of human slaughter. Albert Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, his final unified theory still incomplete on his desk. But even in death, he was not granted peace. Without his permission, or the permission of his family, the pathologist who performed his autopsy stole his brain. It was taken, cut into 240 blocks, and hidden away in jars of formaldehyde for decades, a grotesque final violation of a man who only wanted to be left alone to think. We remember Einstein for his genius, for his whimsical hair, and for his undeniable contribution to human progress, but his true story is a haunting reminder of the burden of supreme knowledge. He was a man who unlocked the heavens only to spend his life watching humanity try to build hell on Earth. He bent the universe, but the universe, with all its human flaws, its violence, and its chaos, ultimately broke his heart. If this journey into the past has captivated you, don't forget to leave a like. It's the best way to support this project and keep history alive. To continue unraveling the mysteries of the most fascinating characters who ever walked this earth, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss our next journey through time. Until next time.